All right. It is that time, friends. Little PGA DFS live before lock here at Stokastic. We've been waiting. We've been waiting for some majors, for some big time tournaments. It doesn't get bigger than this. The Masters is here. I know you're all excited. I'm excited. I am Ben Rasa. That is Geoff Ulrich. We've talked a lot of Masters, but we've saved the best for last. We have a full show for you here. We're going to talk about all sorts of things. We got rainmakers. We got new tools for the Masters, and we've got every player imaginable. It's like Christmas, is it not? I mean, it doesn't get better than this.
No, man, this is such a good time of the year too. We got other sports coming down the stretch and playoff runs. I always equate this week this year of the year with one of the best. But I mean, this is it. This is like the crescendo for me. I mean, the Masters it's turned into like basically the Super Bowl in a lot of ways. I mean, everyone turns into a golf expert, which is fine. That's because everyone's getting into it and the betting is just exploding and it's great. And there's opportunities and big money up for grabs and obviously a great golf tournament. So yeah, it doesn't get much better than this for golf.
Yeah. And a lot of people probably checking us out for the first time. And that's great. That's great. If you're going to come, this is the week to do it, to stop on in, to hang out. We've got everything for you. If you got questions, even if if you don't know what some of the terminology is, we got a friendly chat. We got a great community here. All the regulars will help you out. We'll help you out here. But let's get things started as we always do. Let's talk a little about Valero. Again, I don't think we need to spend too much time on it because we didn't see that many players. Corey Connors obviously sticks out. He loves that place. He got reps. What else were your takeaways from the prep for the Masters?
I mean, my takeaway is that, Davis Riley is, obviously I'm going to be going broke here soon, but
Yeah.
it was a weird event because obviously I think the last thing I said on our show last week was like, oh yeah, I'm all over it. I've been feeling good, having good vibes. None of my players are really blown up. Davis Riley comes out and shoots 9 over or something and just absolutely obliterates any chance I had at anything. But it was also, like Benny N, I caught a little piece of him for an each way, kind of saved my week. I know he made you a ton of money, which was awesome to see. So we ended like it wasn't that bad. I mean, but Corey Connors, a player I fully expected. I probably underrated him a little bit last week. He's a player I even pegged that as like a multiple time winner. And,
Yeah.
People were right. Like that was where you should have gone last week. It was pretty obvious. I'm definitely in a little bit of a zone where I've kind of pot committed to Davis Riley just as a talented player. And I do think he'll get there eventually. But, it's one of those weeks where you got egg on your face if you went that direction. I can handle it. It's happened to me before. It'll happen again.
No doubt about it. Yeah, it was a weird week. Like I said, Corey Connors just played well. I thought a lot of the chasers we'll keep an eye on. They're not relevant this week. Sam Ryder, I thought he played outstanding, really helped me. Sam Stevens, we were joking about his price on the show. He really played well. He somehow had 8 looks for Eagle on Sunday, which I don't really understand. And then, of course, Kuchar, just annoying for a lot of reasons. Ricky played well, couldn't get himself into the Masters, but it really does look like he's starting to find it. I don't have a ton. The only thing is that Corey Connors is going to be even more popular than he was going to be because of last week. He is massive chalk this week.
Yeah, he is. But he was like you said, he was going to be pretty chalky anyways, but this is probably a new stratosphere for him. So a lot of decisions to make there. How do you want to play it? Depends on what kind of lineup you're putting in, is single entry, 3 entry. How do you play them in large field GPP builds, 100 men? You go massive overweight. Do you go a little bit? Do you go with the field? Lots of different options for Corey Connors. He's definitely going to be one of those players who decides a lot of fates this week.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, we're going to cover him. We're going to get onto that. But let me first just take a moment because there's a lot of ways to get exposure. All sorts of stuff is going on in the golf world. Like we said, it takes center stage. And if you are on DraftKings and you are playing some big time golf this week, make sure to claim your PGA starter pack. The link is below for Rainmakers. Again, it's just a different format, one of the many things they've got going on. So if you're looking kind of that different feel, if you're into the NFTs, if you haven't explored, at least take advantage of what they're doing. There's a ton of contests out there that are not filling. There's opportunities. So if you haven't gotten involved and you want to, again, a lot of prizes. This is the pinnacle of golf. You have that pack and you have those opportunities. So definitely take advantage. The link is below, and this show is sponsored by Rainmaker. So I just want to give them a quick shout out for sure. Jordan put it on the screen. Easy game. If you want to compete in fantasy golf contests with your digital golfer cards, that is where to do it, friends. Now, we turn the page to Augusta National and what's going on. So we got a lot to get to just in this iteration, Geoff. Let's step back. The majors, all of them are rotationals. You know, we try to experiment. What are we going to know? LA Country Club. I've never seen it, never heard of it. What's it going to play like? We know this course inside and out. We've all seen it dozens of times. Does that help or hurt when you're breaking it down? And then what do you expect because of the potential weather?
Yeah, so I mean, it can help, and I think it can hurt. I think it can help because obviously, you know, course experience I think does kind of matter here. I mean, you can pinpoint players who just consistently outperform. Sometimes their recent form just outperform on a more consistent basis. It is a quirky course in a lot of ways. It's hilly, but it's got a lot of, you know, certain dog legs in it. If you're a right to left player and you're a righty, Patrick Reed, Zach Johnson, draw players. These are players who just, they benefit, I think, from the layout, and lefties as well. So it definitely fits some people's eyes better than others. And I think you look at that historically, some people just get on here. Will Zalatoris comes to mind, Jordan Spieth, and they just like, yeah, this place is the best. Other people, it takes them years and years and years. And Sergio Garcia is one of those. Finally broke through, but man, it took him like 20 years to play well at Augusta. 20 years. So it is not for everyone. You kind of have to understand that going in. There's risk even with some of the top players this week. On the other side of it, I think that also hurts you a little bit in DFS. It creates biases. A player hasn't played here well in 2 years, like, oh, he sucks here. He can't ever do well. That can flip real quick too. So lots of examples of that. We'll get to that as we go through the players. But yeah, hilly, unique course, faster greens than normal. And I think what we've seen too, it's been lengthened since Dustin took it apart in 2020. What I've noticed, especially the last 2 years, green and regulation percentages, tough. Around the green play, more important in my opinion. Obviously, ball striking always important, but that around the green play with Hideki and Scheffler was really something. Both top five in that. That's what I've noticed. I think it's going to be more this week with the weather. And the weather again. Thursday looks okay, not too bad. Friday starts to really get in, and Saturday looks like an absolute mess. So it's going to be one of those weeks, potentially even worse than last year, where the bad weather limited us in scoring. We saw Scheffler pull away, but another week like that where, you know, it is going to be messy. I think it's going to bring more people into the mix.
Do you think the weather benefits one particular skill set? Like if it plays really soft, if it's soaked, like does driving distance get a bump for you? Does iron play, does scrambling, or does it not matter?
So, I mean, this is where you've got to, you got to sit back and you got to say, okay, I'm not the oracle here. Don't try and play like weatherman. Don't try and play like smarty pants McGee, right? Like a lot of people say, well, it definitely benefits the Bombers because it's a softer course and the ball doesn't roll. That's not really true, because two of the shortest winners ever, Willett and Johnson, won in terrible conditions. And Mike Weir, the year he won, it was soaking wet. The rough was really high that year. Go back and watch. Trust me. So like the shorter hitters in a weird ways, they do benefit from a softer course. The par fives play as 3-shotters for a lot of the players now. It kind of just brings everyone back. And the main thing is, and you bring this up a lot, skill set stacking, I think makes a lot of sense this week. In my opinion, it's going to put more emphasis on around the green play. Obviously, iron play is going to remain super important, but that around the green play is just going to become more important. So players who just are a little bit more deficient in that area, probably going to have a tougher time, in my opinion. Now, if we get a stoppage and maybe it bleeds into Sunday and Monday, and all of a sudden the course is soft and the wind's down, that could also lend itself to more of just like a dart fest where these really accurate iron players and Victor Hovland and Colin Morikawa come to mind, where around the green play doesn't matter as much. So build lineups around that, I think, is a good strategy this week. You can blend them a little bit, but don't try and like overthink it too much and think that like this is definitely going to benefit Rory and like Dustin because they're so long off the tee. I don't think that's going to be true. I think it's going to bring more people into the mix, and a lot of it's just going to depend on how it plays out with the stoppages and such, if there is some.
It's really difficult, particularly when the stuff, like if it was Thursday morning, I've said this a lot so far this year. Like if it was supposed to be crazy Thursday morning, you could wake up early tomorrow and see like, okay, Saturday could have drama. Like that's many days away and you can't react because the tournament will be locked. So I really would encourage people to either A, don't do anything radical, just stick with what you're doing, or B, pick a couple different scenarios and build there. Like I certainly am going to build some teams where it's like insanely soft and easy. I'm going to build some teams where it's just awful and guys have to lay up on the par fives, things like that, and just hope that one of those type of teams really comes to fruition. But I'm not really altering my player pool a ton just because I'm honestly not sure if it helped. Like Hovland to me is the perfect example. Does it help him or hurt him? I see arguments for both.
I think that's the perfect way to put it. Don't let it affect what you have already been thinking. If you're already kind of planning and you have a player pool in mind, it really shouldn't be that big a deal. But if you're planning on building multiple lineups and you want exposure to different guys, yeah, I think trying to build for certain types of play is smart. And around the green play, you don't have to necessarily worry about whether they're long off the tee or short, and then building for players who you think could really benefit, if the scoring does get a little bit lower for sure.
Yeah, definitely. One question before we dive into, we have something exciting to show you next, and then we're going to dive into the players. 150 max, how many people do you have in your player pool? Get that question a lot. Honestly, I don't think it's overly important for how many. If you're building really, really aggressive and you like lock 2 people, you might have like every reasonable player in the field and more diverse. If you go balanced, you might have like 12 to 20 guys and you have every permutation of them. So I think it's just a risk tolerance thing. I wouldn't worry about it. I'd just kind of build out my core and then stick, a lot of rotating 2v2s around it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to me, player pool stuff, it's all about risk, about variance and how much risk tolerance you want to take. You can create as small a player pool as you want, as long as you understand if your guys bust, you are airmailing everything. And at the same time, you can spread it more. You can give yourself, a little bit more shot at different combinations, but you're just not going to, if one player does do well, you're just not going to have as many lineups to give yourself a shot at the top prize. So it's all about how confident you are, how much, and your risk tolerance.
No doubt about it. Now, let's start building some lineups right off the bat. We have, and if you play NBA, you've seen this. I told people, we have the best devs in the world. We got to have it by the Masters, and we do. We have our brand new lineup generator for the PGA DFS streets. It's super simple. It's super easy. It's super sick. If you are looking to build quick and easy lineups, there's where you want to be. I'll get to how you can get it, but just let's run through one. Mr. Klein, we'll go DraftKings main. We click it. Super simple. You just select your options. Obviously, we're going to play tournaments. Then you're going to be brought to a screen. What type of lineups do you want? And you can click any of them. Chalky, balanced, contrarian. I'm going to go contrarian just because why not? Let's live a little. And then it's super simple. You can either lock a player. Obviously, for me, I'm going to click Rory because that's what I do. Or you can just let it fly. And lineups literally start generating. You like them, you press save. If you don't, you press discard. If you want to substitute a guy, you press the little arrows. After a while, you build your portfolio. You press a couple that are saved, and you can upload them to DK. You can see your player exposures. It is that simple. I have a video posted on Stokastic, but this is super clean, super easy. You see it right there. Look at that. You see the exposures. It's a great way to build. Like if you're like me, I don't build 150. I build around 20, 30 sometimes. It's super easy to use this for that kind of player pool. You can see all your teams, all your ownership in a simple, easy way. If you want this.
I figured this out. This out without the video, Ben. And if I can figure it out, you guys.
It is as simple as it gets. Yeah, you don't need my video. You don't have to waste your time watching that. It is just for this week, of course. Come on in, the link. We have a huge deal. It's $2.50. I don't drink coffee, but people always say, it's a cup of coffee. I believe that's what coffee costs. Okay. No, I don't drink coffee.
I mean, we'll get into that later.
Okay, we'll get into that later. PGA DFS lineup. So if you're looking to make some late night lineups tonight, click the link below. It's in the description. Jordan will put it in chat. $2.50, a couple bucks. If you play any volume, it's worth it. Even just to make some of your lineups with this. Test it out and let us know what you think. Again, the code is there, Augusta23, but $2.50. Just wanted to shout out to all the devs who did a great job with this. Amazing work.
I know you guys are going to be late entering some tournaments tonight.
You got it. Come on.
This offer, it's the perfect time to try it out because we got 3 more majors coming up. This tool is it's going to help you guys. It's just going to make your life easier, easier, funner, making lineups, everything. It's really clean. Like I said, if I can figure it out, you guys will love it. So
Easy game. Now let's talk about how to make these lineups, because we got to start with the top tier. We'll start with the big three. We got Scheffler, we got Rahm, we got Rory. Obviously, my credibility, we know where I'm going. We know where the field's going. They're going to Rory as well. It looks like he's going to be the most popular play on the slate. Where do you think you go, or do you say this is not my stand? All three of these guys are elite.
I mean, look, Rory. I don't even know if I should be surprised that Rory is the most popular play here, but it's a little bit surprising to me. I just feel like people are. I don't even know. I don't know why Scotty Scheffler isn't more popular. He's the guy who's been winning. He's the defending champion. I feel like this is a little bit of a public thing where people just want to get in on Rory as well. But to me, with him being up there at the top, and obviously Connor's being right below him in terms of ownership percentage this week, in terms of our projections, there's going to be a lot of Rory Connors builds. And
Yes.
to me, it's just like a perfect opportunity to go with the guy I would have ranked first anyways, which is Scotty Scheffler. Now, again, I mean, I'm going against our projections a little bit too in saying that, but I feel like with the conditions in play this week, how Rory McIlroy likes to play, and I've brought this up before, I just don't know if this is going to be the year and the setup for Rory. So I'm fine, say going off him. If I was to pick one player to put off the top and want to build around, it would probably be Scheffler. I certainly don't hate Rahm either. These are the three top players in the world. There's not much to pick between them. I think Rahm is just fine. I'm not worried about him because he had, like a bit of a couple slow starts in a row. But to me, Scheffler is still it. He's the guy until he gets beat by one of these other two men in a major, and that hasn't happened yet. So I'll lean Scheffler.
Yeah, again, I ironically, I know it's a huge decision. I'm not saying it's not, because these are massive win equity players. But at the same time, to me, this is more of the easier parts, because I don't know how you honestly, like, if any of them bring their A game and happen to have it, they're probably going to win because they're that good. And if you're playing a bunch of teams, I don't really see the need to get crazy. For me, I'm going to have Rory on my main teams because I think that Rory eventually is going to break through here. And I like the way he's playing. I think he found something in Austin. Scheffler, I mean, what? The guy's unflappable. Nothing bothers him. He's playing amazing. And Rahm, the expectations got so out of whack because he broke the early season. Like, people are thinking he's slumping because he's not winning literally every tournament in Florida, of all places, where he never really plays well. So I have no problem with it. I don't think you're going to find much leverage here whatsoever, but it's clear to me that Rory will be more popular than a guy like Rahm by a significant margin relative to the slate.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's kind of like you're not going to pick a wrong answer here. If you really like Rory and you're just kind of committed to him breaking through at Augusta, yeah, you should play him. If you just don't think that he deserves this kind of ownership, that's fine too, because Scheffler is right there, and absolutely just taking the lower ownership on Rahm is fine. I mean, I have, you could make a little bit of an argument against Rahm. I mean, did withdraw at the Players. It's not really the most ideal lead up. Like, if you're really picking this apart, Rahm is probably the player to say that about, but he's also going to be the lowest owned of the three. So there's really no wrong answer here. It's how you want to build. It's how you want to allocate your exposure. Again, just structuring how you structure around these three is more important really than how you decision make. If you have 10 lineups, do you go overweight on Rahm, maybe underweight on Rory, or do you just take the swing and go overweight on one? It's all up to you and how you build out, but really no wrong answer here.
Yeah, I agree. So my bigger question is, again, it doesn't have to be a firm number, but are you looking to predominantly have one of these three in the majority of your lineups, or is Spieth, Cam Smith, Cantlay a starting point rather than a second man in?
No, I absolutely. I mean, I definitely feel like, just with the players that you can kind of core around in the 8 to 9K range, I do think that you can do that. I like starting with Spieth, even starting further down in the low 9K range. I think that's viable this week. I really do. And in a way, like I kind of do like that, and because it takes a little bit of the decision making out. You don't necessarily have to go into it and say, like, oh, I gotta play Scheffler over Rory, and then you're gonna have to leave out a couple of these other 9K players. I feel like this is an event where we've seen a lot of 40-1, 30-1 winners. It's also going to be very weather dependent, wave dependent, and you've got a high number of players in the, say, 87 to 97 range where these guys are coming on. Like these are players who have challenged Scheffler and Rory at times, even kind of beat them at times this season. And I'm confident that one of them can do it. And if they get across the finish line, your build is going to really have a big edge over the Scheffler and Rory teams, because you'll have the winner at a much lower price. So I do like starting lineups, and I think that's very viable this week.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Again, I mean, this is not where I'm going to end up, but just for trying to paint a picture. So far before the show, I was building. I've only built 8 lineups so far, and 2 of them started below Spieth. So, not 25% of them. Again, I don't know. It'd probably shrink a little bit, but I'm fine with that. You have not that it means these guys are necessarily going to win, but we've seen it with Decky and Reed and like they were real players, but they weren't the guy at that moment. They had experience without breaking through, and there's so many of them in the 9K. So let's drill down a little bit, because I posted a tweet today. You can always follow me at Ras DFS. He's at the Fantasy Grind. I think this is the toughest range of the entire tournament, and the range I'm talking about is basically, you can loop DJ in if you want, but DJ, Finau, Xander, Morikawa, Homa, JT, Cantlay, and Spieth. I don't like Cam Smith. If Cam Smith beats me, I'm going to have to live with it. I think he's just simply overpriced. But what do you look to in the 9K range in terms of your starting point?
Yeah, certainly Cam Smith. You could take a stance on him. I mean, the weather conditions feel like they'll be really good for him. He won in absolutely terrible weather at the Players. But I am with you there. I have no idea how Cam Smith is reacting to what is a less than ideal lead-in playing against live opponents. I don't want to go there. I don't really care if he beats me either. I'll live with it. Jordan Spieth, to me, is a player who I know is playing well against good competition. He gained over 7 strokes tee to green at the Valspar. I love the fact he played there. I think that's such a good lead-up course. We saw Patrick Reed play there when he won. We saw Spieth play there when he won. We saw Danny Willett play there when he won. The fact he performed well there, had a 6-foot putt to basically tie the lead. I don't care that he missed it. I care that he hit a 240-yard iron to 6 feet on a pressure hole. That's Jordan Spieth right there, coming through with the shots when you need it. Bad weather, great. Around the green game, perfect. Love Spieth. I think he's a better starting point than Cantlay. Not that I hate Cantlay, but this is the core. The great equalizer is Augusta again. Spieth is someone who I care about when it comes to this event. I think he's due for redemption. I like him, but I'm fine starting lower. I really am. I think that Justin Thomas and Max Homa have equally good chances this week, and I like both those players. And if you want to start with a Homa Thomas or just one of them, Homa Finau, absolutely fine. I think Max Homa is starting to go overlooked. People just, I don't care that he missed 2 cuts and his best finish is 48th. He is a different player. He's dominated long, tough golf courses, and he's got too much self-belief to let that worry him. So Homa and Thomas just as strong plays for me as Spieth.
Max Homa is one of the best illustrations of, if you're running models and stuff, trying to understand good data versus bad data. He's just not the same player. He's just simply not. Doesn't mean that he's automatically going to play good, but I don't take anything from what he's done course history wise, because he's evolved into a much better player at this point. So I get it. The guys for me. So one thing I do want to point out, and I don't want to start conspiracy theories. I did read today that Justin Thomas, there are whispers that he's battling a little thing with his hip. I don't think it's overly concerning. It's not like a withdrawal issue, but you don't know what that means. I'm not reading too much into it because, again, you can't really quantify it. I did bump him down a little bit because of it. Morikawa is the guy I'm struggling with, because I think he's one of the bigger if statement players for me. And what I mean by that is if I knew the conditions, turned into target golf where it's just go at the flag, he might be the number one player I want there. If it's not that, and it's more like Jordan Spieth, get up and down from bushes, Morikawa not on the list for me. And for that reason, I'm a little underweight, I would say. And he's one I'm having a tough evaluation for.
Yeah, and I mean, like you should be struggling with Morikawa. He's a fantastic player, multiple major winner. He's 9,100. He's drifted to like 30-1 in the betting odds, but he needs stoppages on Saturday, in my opinion, and he needs the event to get better weather on Sunday and potentially Monday, because I just don't see him winning in a slop fest. You can point to his T5 last year. That was a backdoor T5 that he shipped in from the bunker the last hole. That's not really his game. His around the green game has not been great. It's kind of let him down in spots. The ball striking is there, and that's why he's still tantalizing, and he should be. And I'm not saying fade him altogether, but I would be sort of more picking and choosing my spots with him this week. Again, I have more confidence in Homa with the all around game. Probably, I don't know about Xander. Xander is just someone
that guy.
I know.
I like Xander this week.
I
liked him last year.
Yeah, I kind of
made less birdies than Sandy Lyle. That's not a joke.
So yeah, Morikawa is definitely if it breaks the right way, he's going to be there. This is my stance on Morikawa. If I see something clear up, or if I see him hanging around and maybe softer conditions are ahead, I'm just going to hammer him in the live betting. I've just got a bullet ready for Morikawa, basically. But as far as DFS, unless I was going like making some extreme lineups or entering a ton of lineups, that's the only way he would be making it. Probably wouldn't be making like a single entry for me. I just like Homa too much. The Thomas news actually makes sense when you think about it. He's been struggling just to find consistency. Again, I don't know if you need to fade him just off that, but there's certainly options here because Schauffele is down there at 9K, and he's just kind of good at everything, and he's got a good record here. So,
couple things. Brendan from chat said, if you're playing Morikawa, you're playing Connors in the same lineup. Yeah, I think you're going to lump them into pure iron striker buckets. Yeah. I get it. I would agree with that. Couple more guys in the top tier, and then we'll move to the mid range. So we've got Xander, who I'm not worried about the miscut. He just didn't have it last year. That doesn't mean anything. He's a good all-around player. He should, look at his course history. Again, he's got a miscut and some fantastic finishes. Quietly playing pretty well. I'm a little confused, and I'm not going to overreact because it's 2 starts in Florida. His always consistent off the tee game has been god-awful at API and the players. I don't think that's a huge deal, but I do know that if he is going to really get in the mix, he has to drive it well. That's usually a strength, and he needs that this week.
Yeah, and again, like I think there's more of an argument for just using him in some lineups than Morikawa necessarily, but those two are kind of like on the edge for me just because of who's right underneath them. So again, my love for Tony Finau this week. I get that he's getting popular. Last I looked on DraftKings Sportsbook, he's 18-1, which is kind of hilarious. But at the same time, like he has just been a player just sleepwalking to top 20 finishes every week. 3 strokes gain approach like every week. The around the green game and putting hasn't necessarily looked super sharp, but it's not like we're not in like worry territory. We're not in like Luke List territory or anything. It's just kind of been humming along. He likes bent grass greens. He turned it on at Houston out of nowhere last year on another long, tough golf course. Tony Finau is a guy who could just literally come in and win this event by 3 strokes. And I mean, that may sound outlandish, but that's pretty much what Scheffler did. I really think he's got that in him to challenge the top players. So I'm not going to be left behind on that. Completely fine with eating a little bit of chalk there. And I'm kind of in on the same way about Jason Day. Just such a good lead up for him. The around the green game is just so sharp. The putter drifted a little bit at the players, but this is a player who had Scotty Scheffler, basically bulletproof match play player, down by 3 holes after 7 holes. I mean, I know he didn't finish it off, but again, like Spieth at Valspar, these players are taking confidence from this. They know they're close. And I think Jason Day knows he's close. So I like both those players, and I don't care that they're a little bit popular. That's kind of just a stance for me. I also like the conditions for both of them, quite frankly. I think it benefits both players.
There's no doubt they're going to be popular. I'll say this: I'm not saying you can't do this, but like if you start Rory and Finau, you better have a plan for your next. Like if your plan is to throw in Connors, you're really drawing thin. Those that's going to be a combination in terms of a 3-part correlation that's going to be very strong. So just keep in mind, leave some money on the table, have a couple guys to mix it up because I really like Tony Finau as well. The last guy, again, before we get to the mid range, is our first. I mean, we talked about Cam Smith a little, but I think of all the live guys, Brooks and DJ are probably the ones, in my opinion, that people are most apt to say, okay, I can stomach this. Sub 9K for DJ. What do you make? Indifferent, like, fade? How do you break this down?
I mean, yeah. So are we like mainly just talking DJ and Brooks here? I mean,
DJ more so because we'll move
yeah,
to Brooks's price.
right.
He's in between Day and Finau price wise.
Yeah. I'm pretty much just the same feelings on Dustin Johnson that I have as Cam Smith. If Dustin was in the low 8K range, I'd probably have interest, but I mean, like this is where the live guys get so tricky. But on top of not having like the greatest lead in, I just don't really know where Dustin Johnson's motivation is at. I just don't think that he has any kind of the same motivation as Brooks Koepka. Like if I'm thinking between those two players, I would much rather have a piece of Brooks Koepka. I think Brooks Koepka has so much pride that he may just will himself to a big finish here and really try and make a statement. I don't know if Dustin Johnson cares enough. And I don't say that he's not going to get in the heat of battle and stop playing. It's just I feel like his preparation has probably been less than ideal compared to Brooks's. So I'm just kind of out on him, quite frankly. I think that you can go down to Cam Young or Hovland there. I know that he brings a lot of experience and he's definitely figured out this course. And it seems a little risky, but at 8,800, I feel like there's enough talent around him that with him being on live and just not really doing much, I just feel like fading is the best play.
Yeah, the benefit to most of the live guys is that if you don't want them to potentially crush you, you can take a decent sliver and cancel them. Not like most of them are not popular. Yep. And a guy like DJ, I'm going to have some exposure, not a key piece for me. I prefer Finau by a ton. I prefer Xander by a ton. And let's move a little to the mid-range guys, because there's guys right below him that certainly can get in the mix. And this is where it gets even trickier for me. We've got Cam Young and Hovland. We've got Decky in his neck. We've got Sam Burns, Will Z, and then Sanjay, who I think might be one of the most mispriced players in the entire tournament. Yeah. What do you do with the 8K range here?
I mean, man, like there's arguments where I almost feel like you could bypass this entire range for various reasons. And there's also just arguments where, you know, like you can take multiple players from this range and really go overweight on some of these guys. I think Hovland to me is the most interesting. You know, we liked him in Florida. He played well in tough conditions there, which is good to see. Yes, the around the green game is everywhere. And I just finished talking about how important I think it's going to be this week, but he is also just such a supreme ball striker that he kind of takes that element out of play no matter what the conditions. So that is probably the player I would be leaning towards the most. Sanjay is someone where I think he's a great example of fading him in DFS and then just betting him to get your exposure is probably a better idea because he's going to be so popular. He is absolutely mispriced. And I kind of like him. I mean, he's played well at this event. I don't think that the weather is a bad thing for him. He's got a very solid around the green game, in my opinion. So he's good in that sense, but I don't know if I'd also want to necessarily go overweight on him when he can kind of go down into the high 7K range. So Zalatoris, I'm completely out on. I get it. Like he's a high-end player, but I still feel like he's working through some things. And I think that's just bearing out in the stats. His tee to green game has been less than consistent. The putter is a whole different issue. I don't think it's as big an issue as people are making it out to be, but it's an issue. The Burns is the one where I just have no idea. I mean, as per usual.
Yeah.
Burns could win this event or like shoot 76-76 and it wouldn't shock me. So I got nothing on Burns other than the fact that I think he's probably just what you'd call a good GPP play because the upside is always there with the guy who can gain you like 8 strokes putting.
Yeah, I would. So Burns, and like most players, I have them in a bucket. The Burns
Yeah,
bucket is the winner is 21 under, and it plays comically
right.
easy, and that guy can score. When he gets going, watch out. Now, this isn't LSU Bermuda, but close enough. We can see what he can do maybe on these type of surfaces and this type of grass. But at the same time, Sam Burns can turn it on. I think he comps a little to Hovland. I'm not overly looking to get exposure to Sam Burns. Sanjay, you should play him in cash. He's a rock solid play because he's mispriced. I don't disagree that there are other ways to get exposure. If you're trying to win a top heavy millie, maybe you look to do some things with him, but he's certainly in my pool. Hideki's the one. I'll be honest, I really don't know what to do because from everything I've heard with his injury, he's fine until he's not. Like he could go through all the holes and there would be no issue. On his fifth hole, he could swing and there is an issue. And I don't know what to do if it's 50 degrees and raining with that. So I think there's some risk reward. He played Valero and he played fine. So he's not off the list by any stretch, but I do think there's extra concern.
Yeah. Hideki and Zalatoris would be players who 3-man and single entry builds. I think you just take them out. I just don't think you need to go there. Hideki, maybe I would be okay with. Zalatoris to me is just, again, like I get like his numbers way bigger. I get it that he was 18-1 last year. I do, but like this is a way different lead up for Will Zalatoris. He hasn't been Will Zalatoris for like 6 months. He took the whole summer off. I just think it's too much of a different scenario to chance that. And like I said, I think the conditions are good for him. I don't know if the conditions are good for Burns or not, but we know what he can do. So putting him in lineups with guys like Morikawa makes a lot of sense to me too.
Yeah. We did get a super chat from friend of the show, and look at that sweet badge, Jorge. Thank you.
Nice
he turned $75 into 850 on it. He's been in the NFL streets for quite a while. Now he's in the PGA streets on a little heater right before the Masters. That is fantastic to see. We appreciate you, my man. Really happy to see that screenshot over on Twitter last week. Good work. Take down the millie. Someone in here, there's, I believe, 3 millies up for grabs. So we got to grab at least one of them here at Stokastic. That's what we need to do. That is the plan. Work down. Fitzy, Lowry, your boy Ty Hatton and his love for this course. Rose, Liv Man and Neiman, Fleetwood, Tom Kim. I mean, all sorts of players in this dead mid-range. What are you doing in the upper sevens?
Yeah, so the upper sevens to me, like again, the AK, the lower AKs was more of a kind of pick and choose your own adventure kind of play. Mix in some players I don't mind. The upper sevens I'm far more concrete on. Tommy Fleetwood is,
oh yeah,
this might be it. This really might be it. I love his lead up. I absolutely love the lead up Tommy Fleetwood has had. There's so many things in my opinion to love about it. And I could literally sit here and talk for 5 minutes about it. But the main thing you need to know is he's been gaining strokes tee to green. He had a monster week tee to green at the Valspar. He outperformed Jordan Spieth there. One bad break on a par 5, and it was a bad break. It was unlucky. That's what took him out of it. He was playing great down the stretch. His around the green game has been great. You think back to 2019, Ben. Who's the guy who finished second to Shane Lowry in the windiest, wettest Open Championship ever? Tommy Fleetwood. Fleetwood shot 66 at Augusta 3 times. Actually, I think it's 4 times. That's not a small feat. You look at a lot of the elite players in this field, a lot of them haven't shot better than 66 on this course. Fleetwood has done it here before. He's had some good rounds. And I just think that if the scoring stays low, this is the guy I want. This is the guy who can come through on Sunday, maybe second, third group, put up a 65 and do it. So, yeah, love Fleetwood this week. I think things are trending for him. Certainly not the only player in this range. I think Lowry makes a lot of sense too. I just finished talking about that Open. He's been a little bit under the radar. He gained massively at Sawgrass. I think both those players make sense if you're building around really wet, really ugly, just needing to grind pars. Both Fleetwood and Lowry should be in lineups like that. I think they're just good plays regardless. And then my shot play here is definitely Minwoo Lee.
People love Minwoo Lee this week.
Minwoo Lee he's good.
A player.
If you don't know too much about it, he's good. I mean, anyone who can keep Scotty Scheffler honest on Sunday at the Players, who can go out and, just drill putts when he needs to. He's great around the greens. I think Min-Woo Lee can do a lot of the same things. I think, he's a guy who won the Scottish Open a couple years ago. If you're going to create lineups where it's ugly, it's around the green centric, you need to play good in those conditions, Min-Woo Lee, Hatton, Lowry, all good pivots off guys like Connors and probably Tom Kim too.
Couldn't agree more. Again, this isn't the end all be all, but I will just say Royal Portrush 2019. You mentioned Lowry, Fleetwood second, Finau third, Hatton sixth, Brooks fourth. A lot of those guys. I mean, we'll get to him in a second, but
oh boy,
I see it. And yeah, Min-Woo Lee, he's a player. He's got, listen, it's a family affair. His sister is unbelievable as well. So he can really play. That whole family can play. I like him. I do. What about Rose? Because you mentioned a bunch of guys, and then there's Rose and Niemann in there. I think that Rose, obviously, he's prepped and he's trying to optimize for majors at this point in his career. I think the price is fair. Doesn't jump off the page. I prefer Fleetwood, but I think he deserves at least some recognition.
Yeah, no, and again, this is why I kind of was so lukewarm about the. I mean, I agree. Like, I'm not fully out on Justin Rose at all. I prefer Fleetwood. I think there's just better upside there. But like, Rose is a very consistent player. He's good around the greens too. Like, it's going to play to his strengths in a lot of ways. So I think you can definitely double dip down here. I prefer Rose over Hatton too. I will say this. I didn't talk about Hatton for a reason. I feel like something kind of happened here. Like, everything was going well. And it's just like, I don't know if it's a hand injury or if it's just Hatton being Hatton. But like, the putter has gone cold. The milk has kind of gone sour, so to speak here. And I do not want a sour Ty Hatton rumping around Augusta in the wind and rain. That worries me a little bit. Maybe he's like the low on pivot here, but like, there's just too many other names for me to want to worry about that. So I am pretty deeply out on Hatton. Again, I prefer Rose over him. I certainly prefer Lowry over him. Niemann is definitely a wild card, man. I mean,
yes, he is.
Very talented player. I think it's fine to use him as leverage. I really do. I would probably prefer, again, we go back to those conditions in some kind of lineup where I'm playing for a bit of a lower scoring affair, maybe like a softer finish, but he's like Joaquin Niemann. Again, this is a dude who shot like 20 under at Riviera. He's good. And I don't want to just bypass him just because he's on live. So it's a strong range. A lot of people in play. I think Niemann is someone you could consider as a low on pivot if you need that from this range.
Yeah, it works. Zach was asking in chat, like, we've mentioned a lot of underpriced guys, but who are the under-owned guys? Niemann to me is one of them. He's sub 10%. He's a complete wild card. He might not be ready to play, but if he is, that's a buy. Shane Lowry's sub 10%. Adam Scott is sub 5%. Now, his form is not really there as we work down to kind of the bottom half of this range. Corey Connors and Brooks. Let's get them out of the way, and then we'll start getting to the cheapies. Corey Connors and Brooks are two of the most popular plays on the slate. Corey Connors is mega popular.
Yeah.
I'm coming in. I'll be right here. I'm coming in under on Corey Connors, not because I think he's a bad play, just because I don't think he should be that popular, and it's still Corey Connors. What do you do with Brooks, who won the live event last week and obviously is trending upward?
Yeah. And I do like Brooks. I mean, that was a great lead up, but we're reading down the rundown of Poor Rush. People, I don't know if people really think of Brooks as like, oh, like bad conditions, but I think it's good for Brooks. I mean, I really do. Finau and him are kind of alike in that way, where their ball just goes through the bad weather. Like, it sounds ridiculous, but they're just such big dudes and have such a heavy ball that I feel like they just cut through the wind because they're so strong. Like, so I think Brooks, again, the conditions favor him. I would unfortunately pick Connors as a fade. I don't dislike his chances, but he played pretty well in poor conditions last year, but I don't know. This could just be a whole different scenario. This could just get so ugly. I think it's just so bad on Saturday that I prefer Brooks of the two as well. There's also some players just under Connors who I think could also benefit from the conditions. We'll get there in a sec, but yeah, Connor's the guy I'd be underweight on. Again, don't have to be a full fade. I'm not advocating for that. A lot of respect for Corey Connors, especially after last week. But I think with Brooks there, Brooks and Neiman are two players who I think they're underpriced, and I think they deserve like some recognition and you know your attention in terms of lineup builds. So
Any interest? Let's just get him out of the way. Any interest in Bryson?
I just can't go there. No,
No, I think
I'm
he's
not going to do it.
broken.
Yeah. Don't love the conditions for a Bryson here either. I mean, but I don't know. I don't even know if it's good or not for Bryson. He's just not there yet. Maybe at like the US Open, but not this week.
All right. I'm going to throw some names out there. Feel free to talk about any of them. We've got right below Corey Connors. I mentioned sub 5% Adam Scott. Thigala, I think, could be, as a debutant, very dangerous. I like his game, particularly if it's soft. Answer for a live guy is another name that I don't have crossed off, and certainly Patrick Reed deserves some recognition. You can put Siwoo in there as well. These are the lower 7K guys that I think warrant the most interest.
I'm very interested in Thigala. I think he's a great low owned play. I don't think too many people are going to go there. Where did dude, he was so impressive at Riviera and Torrey Pines. It's a player who gained like over 9 strokes tee to green there. His around the green game is really good. Don't be off him just because he's hit it in the water like 4 times at Sawgrass.
Nothing.
Tiger Woods lost like 6 strokes at Sawgrass right before he won in 2019. Everybody does that. It's just an anomaly. I think Thigala's a great bet as top debutant too, by the way, at plus 550, but I like him for DFS. I'm not going to be scared off him. Great player. The rest of the players are all really intriguing too. Reed is a player I'd be ready to straight up fade, but the conditions are scaring me on that a little bit. This is Patrick Reed country we're heading into. Rough. Everybody hates him again. He's going to have his like 4 aces outfit on. He's just going to be strolling out there, you know, with his chin up, not giving a rat's ass what anyone is thinking. I'd be scared to be a full fade of Patrick Reed this week. I really would. He's just too cheap is what it comes down to. I prefer him over Answer. I'd rather play Siwoo over Answer. I think Siwoo has played this course numerous times. Again, another player. He's had a really good lead up too. And we know Siwoo is a very confident player. I think there's good upside there. So Thigala, Woo, again, not going to do a full fade of Patrick Reed or anything like that. Those are the 3 players here. I'm out on Keegan. I'm kind of out on Answer. Not that I dislike him, but you can't play everyone. And I'm out on Tiger.
Yeah, out on Tiger, unfortunately. Can he make the cut? Yeah, but I couldn't think of any player that all these weather conditions are going to affect more than Tiger. That's a terrible break for him. Usti, we'll get him out of the way. He's battling a tendon issue. I don't really like the spot. I think he belongs in a large field Millie Maker portfolio, but no more than any other random flyer of Kitayama, Keith, Kirk, Sergio. I don't have him above really anyone in the range.
It's a shame that he's got this elbow issue, to be honest, because this would be a great spot to use him. It really would. I mean, this is Usti weather too, but he's got a legit. If you Google Usti elbow, his elbow is apparently hanging by a tendon, and it's going to snap at some point, and it gets sore on him. So again, terrible conditions for this. He hasn't practiced much either, so he'll probably finish T5 now that I've laid this all out because he's Usti. But yeah, he's risky. I mean, I don't have a problem with using him because, you know, why not? But he's definitely risky.
We're going to get to the salary savers in 1 second, but you mentioned a bet that I actually put out today, and that was top debutant with Mr. Thigala plus 550. If you are in one of the states, make a legal wager, maybe you place that. But if in particular, you're in New Jersey, Colorado, Ohio, or Virginia, you can make that wager on none other than Bet365. And Bet365 is running the absurd offer. You might not know that it was in your state. That's what everyone says. Like, oh, I'm in Colorado. I had no idea Bet365 is here. They are in New Jersey, Colorado, Ohio, and Virginia. Bet one, get $200 in bonus bets. It's that simple. Link is below. It says 365. That's fake news. It's $200. I want to tell the people the truth. It is $200 in bonus bets, but all you have to do is deposit $10. Bet $1 and claim it couple $100 to the bankroll. Really easy, really clean. And not to mention, it's an objectively awesome book. One that I would bet on. It would be one of my favorite books if it was in New York. It's just simply not. Gotta be 21 plus. Please play responsible. Look at that. Look at me pointing to it. You see, I told you it was $200. I speak the truth. Good job, Jordan Klein, my man. All right. Enough about that. Again, 21 plus, play responsible. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Great question. Age-old question. How low can you go? We got guys in the sixes. We've got Peters and Bubba and Na and HV3, all sorts of players. How low can you go, and who piques your interest at the bottom?
Oh boy. Okay. So, I mean, if you're going sub 7K, obviously, I mean, you're kind of just making like a lot higher variance lineups, which is fine. You're obviously trying to build around probably a Scheffler or McIlroy and trying to double dip down there. I mean, I think that should be your goal, going for absolute, just going for it all. So just to start off right off the bat, it's not one of those things that you have to do, but if you're doing it, have that in mind. There's certainly a lot of different names down here. I don't have any one guy that I'm going to like throw out and try and get you to play. But again, with the conditions in mind, I still think Ryan Fox is a very good player. And at 6,700, no one's playing him this week after he just completely blew up.
What was that? Like Davis Riley was in his own category, but Ryan Fox was not far behind.
Yeah, Davis Riley really masked the Ryan Fox week. I mean, look, and this speaks to it's a 2-round sample size. Valero is a tricky course. It is. And, maybe he just didn't like it. Maybe maybe he had allergies. I don't know. But it was like, 2 bad rounds in a row. Maybe he just shot 75 and he's like, you know what? I just don't care. I'm getting to Augusta. That's probably what happened. Ryan Fox is big off the tee. If his putter shows up, he can definitely, make you some birdies and eagles on these par fives. I think he's absolutely fine to go back to this week. If you were, again, playing for a real wild weather week, Harris English at 6,700 can scramble and putt with the best of them, regardless of what you think of the rest of his game. He can keep himself alive, at even par. So I think both those players are fine. I think Fox is the better upside play. I am going to make a very short case for Cameron Champ. He has played a little bit anti-form. He may appear to have anti-form.
He does.
He has started to play a little bit better. His missed cuts have not been terrible. The approach game was there. Don't laugh. He was scrambling. He made 7 birdies and an eagle in 2 rounds last week at Valero. Piques my interest a bit for a guy who has really torn up the par fives. He is insanely risky. If he gets the weekend, though, and it pushes a little bit and you get a softer course, a T25 with like top 10 point getting from Cameron Champ is there. He's going to be 0.01% owned. So again, if you're going down here, you're already playing high variance style. You got to think about the scores. Cameron Champ's a scorer, and he's proven it before in Augusta. So little bit of a peak of form. I don't know if it's going to happen, but he would be on my short list. He really would.
So he's definitely boom bust. We all know that. I think the best point to make about Cameron Champ, if you want to play him, is his Masters history has been outstanding. His run up to the Masters last year, miscut. He looked terrible, and then he came in 10th. Like he can turn it on here. That is definitely possible. It's a weak range. I'll ride with Seamus. I think that Seamus is just a better player than most people realize. He's well-rounded. He's got good long irons. The weather won't bother him. Doesn't have a glaring weakness. He doesn't have an elite strength either, but that's okay. He can kind of get around here. If it gets really wild around the green, that plays to his strengths much better than a guy like, Gary Woodland, someone like that, where I'm just confused at what we're going to get. I don't think I'm going below 6.5, maybe Moronk, but that's about it. I think it would be a mistake to go lower than that. And then I will separate. There is one guy I'll ask you about down there, but what are your general thoughts on the real low end guys?
Yeah, like below 6,500.
Yeah, like the real, like, the dudes, Larry Mize range.
I mean, Sepp Straka you can do a lot of things with Sepp Straka this week. I don't necessarily love this for him, but he's got a little bit of like that Cameron Champ feel to him, where if his putter shows up, like he can really smash the ball. So, you know, his win on tour came at the Honda Classic in pretty windy conditions. I think he's playable. I really do. That's certainly where I would be looking down there. Mackenzie Hughes is also down there. Kind of fits in that like Willett, Perk, Seamus power basket where he can just be so good around the greens. I think those are the two players that I have interest in. Actually, we didn't bring up Mr. Sargent yet, did we?
That's
no, we we'll
the
save
guy
that
I want to ask.
I think
you
we're
about.
both. I think we both, yeah, have realization there. But yeah, 6,300. Those are the two playable players to me. It's Hughes and Straka.
That's fair. I have no problem. All right, let's talk about this dude. Then we're gonna build a lineup and we're gonna bounce it out. I will say, friends, because we got a lot of people in here. I appreciate you guys. Really love all the support. Two quick things. One, super simple. If you want to hit the like button, we always appreciate it. It helps us out. We want you as part of the team too. If you like golf betting and you want more of that, we have an exclusive YouTube you may not know about called Odd Chopper Golf. 24/7 golf betting. So be part of that community as well. Again, Odd Chopper Golf. We just want you guys to make sure you're seeing everything we're doing here as Stokastic. But this guy, first of all, I keep calling him Gunner Sargent, which would be a sick name, but his name is Gordon Sargent. He's in college. I believe he goes to Vandy. The article comes out that he like smoked Homa and JT today, and now he's the talk of the town. Top amateur. His line has crumbled. I don't think you can get value there. Could you actually play this guy at 61?
I mean, I don't really know why not. I mean, you know, all the puffy articles aside, I mean, you know, from what I've seen, like this is not like just a good player coming out of college. This is not a player who's projected to be good. He's projected to. This is probably going to be the next generational player. It's not just a thing where he's like, oh, he just hits it long, or he's got some quirky swing that like propels him through college ranks. Like he looks legitimately good. His swing is smooth. He's good at other things as well around the green from what I've gained and just from what I've seen. And just to give you an idea of how special he is, he got a special invitation just to get here. I think Augusta, the last time Augusta handed this out to an amateur was like 2000. So that's how good he's kind of regarded as. I think you can play him. I think he's playable. But he's an amateur. I mean, you know, I'm no guarantees here, folks. So you don't need to go down here. But if you're going down here, there's really no anyone else you're playing. You're not playing longer. You're not playing Sing. You're not playing couples. You can play them, but you shouldn't. Yeah, Sargent, I think is playable. And you know what? It's probably going to be a wild week. He's got that length factor where makes a couple eagles. Has a decent Sunday, and all of a sudden, like at 6,100, he's put in like a top 20 score, and he's going to factor in. So I think you can use him.
It's clear that if you need a guy in this range, I think it has to be him. There's no one else to play. Now, should you play anyone down there? I don't know.
Just bet him top 40 or something. I mean,
yeah, that's probably more of a prudent move. I really have nothing to say about this because I don't know who this guy is. He might be that good. I distinctly remember Rahm at a couple of tournaments being in the 6K range. And it was like, this kid's amazing. He's from Arizona State. And I'm sure I said, when I see it, I'll probably react. And he was that good.
Yeah.
I heard that Norman Jong was like literally going to break golf. He's not here this week. We're going to find out. I think if you want to splash with him, I get it, but
yeah,
still a kid in college now playing in the Masters. It's not, these practice rounds are a little different. That's all I'll say. I might have a splash, not going to be an important piece. If he shoots 50 over, it won't matter to me.
Yeah. I'm actually fairly bullish this guy. I'm usually
I think he's going to win. On guys That's what you're saying.
I actually really think he's going to play well. I'm actually, you know, I'll take a little bit of because most of the time I'm of the exact same opinion. You got to wait on these guys. I think you're probably witnessing the next great player, and it's a little bit early maybe to jump on that, but from what I've seen and gathered, he is it. He's going to be something. So I don't have a problem with it. But look, you don't need to go down to 6,100 either. So if you're going down there, definitely play him though.
All right. let's build a lineup. Let's
Let's
do
do it.
it.
Enough
We're at
Gordon
that
Sargent
point.
talk.
Yeah, Sergeant. We're a little over time. That's all right. It's the Masters. You guys are still with us, right? You're good. Good to go. And yeah, we got to most people. Any love for Taylor Moore? Not really. He's got a better price on FanDuel. I'll give you that. But other than the price, no, I don't really see it. All right, let's make a memory. Where are we going? I don't know what this is going to look like for this lineup.
I really don't either.
Okay. Well,
wait till Jordan gets ready here. Okay, here we go.
He's ready.
All right.
DraftKings. Let's see what we can do.
Well, look, I mean, you had the big week. Why don't you go first?
Okay, well then I'll just put in Rory and break the whole thing. Sorry. You shouldn't have done that.
I shouldn't have, but I did.
No,
so let's roll with it.
Yeah, you know what? I had a good week last week. I get to put Rory in
you
the
do.
lineup.
You do. That's your reward. Okay, so we went with Rory. That's absolutely fine. How do we balance that out? Definitely, like Ben said, going Rory with like Connors or Finau or Reed or something is probably going to be
put Finau.
Not ideal. Let's throw Fleetwood in there.
Okay.
Let's go, Tommy.
Tommy. So I'm gonna try to help us out because I already screwed us. I'm gonna start getting different right off the bat.
I mean, it's not like Rory's like
no
Angel Jimenez or something.
Yeah. It's Marco Mira. I'm gonna go with Neiman as an attachment. I don't think a lot of people are gonna do that because if you click Fleetwood, you kind of have that range on lock. Let's double up right there. So we got Rory, we've got Fleetwood, and we've got Neiman. Now we can go. This is again maybe working towards getting Tony Finau because I think we both really like him. Yeah. And we got to start being different immediately.
Yeah. And I mean, like you don't have to go up to Finau here, but it does make sense. So let's put him in. I think that's kind of where we're going. We got two guys in the 7Ks. Neither of them going to be super chalky, especially Neiman. So yeah, it's fine. Let's get Finau. Let's get a couple big guns. Can certainly build lineups this way. You don't have to avoid all the chalk.
No, not at all.
We even throw one lower owned guy in here to end. Who knows?
Oh yeah, you can absolutely mix it up now. And for me, this is going to be kind of another quote unquote low owned guy, sub 10%. I'm going to put Shane Lowry in the lineup. He's 7,900. I'll leave you with 71. You'll have a million different options. It's not a great range, I'll be honest. But we can work around that. If you want it to be different, you could also, not to take this over, you could go Brooks and Adam Scott. I think that's kind of an interesting duo as well. Yeah. But I'm going to put in Lowry.
Yeah, you could go Brooks and Adam Scott. You could go Sungjae and Thigala, which I wouldn't hate actually. But we went Lowry.
Wait, so let's finish this. No, you can't do that.
What's that?
You can't do Sungjae and Thigala.
Wait. You can't. What am I talking about?
I was going to say, if you could do that.
Sorry, I had the wrong guy out. Yeah, you can't do that. Sorry.
The old I know that people don't like to know this, but you've got the in at DraftKings. You get an extra couple thousand on your lineups.
That's right. Yes. Oh,
yeah.
And I start with 52. Yeah.
Okay. That's why. Makes sense. No respect over here.
I took the wrong player out when I was on that team. Okay. So yeah, we got Mitchell, Kitayama, Kirk, my guy Hanley down there. How do we want to round things off? I'm going to throw Kirk in there.
Yeah.
This is more of a conditions play. Kirk's around the green game is like just off the charts right now. And I think that, again, his ball striking has been good enough that he'll be able to get around. He's played Augusta before, Georgia Bulldog. I actually like that. I like him in that range. I like this. I mean, I think Kirk is a top 10. So I like that. I like Lowry for like a top 10 as well. Rory and Finau give us good upside. Neiman's the wild card. And Fleetwood's the winner. So perfect.
Yeah. And we got Fleetwood. No, I just wanted to illustrate that you can take the chalk you want. You just have to do some stuff that makes you feel uncomfortable. All right. Couple questions on the way out. Again, Jorge, very generous. We appreciate you. A couple last questions. Biggest fades for you guys in large field tournaments. For large field tournaments, Cam Smith, not going to get there. I'll be under on Connors, not a full fade. And Zalatoris. Those three guys I'm not going to be on much at all. Connors, I'll have exposure. The other two I might actually full fade.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I'm not like, Cantlay is a guy I'm just gonna wait and see on. I just don't have a ton of confidence. He's really hit it well, but I'm probably just Cantlay fatigued at majors at this point. Zalatoris certainly, I've already mentioned. I'm kind of out on Fitzpatrick at this point too. I just don't love the lead
Yeah.
up, but it is kind of to the point where, like he's probably going to be lower owned. So I don't necessarily hate like mixing him in for a lower ownership thing. And then Connors is more of just an ownership thing where I would be definitely underweight on Connors. Just too many other players I like around him.
Yeah. Extension of that question. Thoughts on Tom Hoagie? I don't really have any. I think he's playable. I prefer Seamus. And then just an extension, we'll get it all there. Guys, I'm going overweight on. I mean, some of my favorite plays are chalky, Rory and Finau, but I really like Fleetwood. I like Thigala as a dark horse. I like Answer as kind of an under the radar player. And Seamus is another dark horse who can get in the mix.
Yeah, Hoagie's fine. I mean, he's probably going to be the most popular player there, but Seamus is there. No one under 7K is going to be super highly owned. If you like Hoagie and he
Yes.
fits in your build, just play him because you don't need to worry about that. He's not going to be that highly owned. So Hoagie's fine. There's always risks with guys like Kitty Am and him, first timers and things like that. But he's played really well and he's 6,900. So you're not losing too much.
Last question before we pick our winner and get out of here. Top live players. I think for me, the prudent answer is DJ and Brooks. The wild cards are Neiman and Answer. Patrick Reed with the conditions could really help. Those are kind of the ones I'm building around. Cam Smith is not in that mix for me.
Yeah, Cam Smith, same thing. Would be. We're gonna see. I mean, Cam Smith is definitely a player I've seen do it before in these kind of spots, but I just don't know how anyone's gonna react. I don't want to pay up for a player who's priced up there. So I think Brooks is the player that has the best chance to really make some noise this week. And I think he will kind of carry the live flag. That's my opinion on the live guys. Not expecting much from DJ, Cam, maybe Neiman or like Mito even pops up. But I think Brooks will be okay. I think Brooks is going to make some noise and he's going to carry that flag. Like I said, so much pride for this guy, and majors is where he shows it.
Who puts on the green jacket? Finau? Fleetwood?
I mean, I've been asked this question
Sargent?
3 times today. I've been asked it 3 times, and I've said Finau twice. I'm
Ooh,
certainly
change it up.
I mean, look, I'm basically picking from a basket of like 5 players that I like. The basket includes Finau, it includes Homa, it includes Day, it includes Spieth, and includes Finau. But I'm just gonna stick with it. Like you said, I'm not gonna change my answer. I have loved the way that Tony Finau over the last 10 months has stepped it up, has not just won events, he has dominated. He has gone out there on tough golf courses and just blown people away. These are things that we're used to seeing Jon Rahm and Rory do. And I think he is the player right now who's just been waiting and biding his time. And there's so many things to like about him with Augusta. The fact he saw Tiger win in the final group in 2019, the bent grass greens, just the experience. I think Finau gets it done. I really do. And I really hope it happens because I would love to see it.
What a perfect way to end the show. And again, what a perfect way to set the stage for what's going to be a great Masters. We appreciate you guys. Whether you're a loyal golf viewer and you come every week and that's great, or you're just here for the majors and you're not going to stop by. Either way, we really do appreciate you. Again, I do want to say, if you're looking for an easy way to make some lineups, have some fun, take the $2 and hop in our lineup generator. The link is below. I really think you'll enjoy it. It's a great tool. Really proud of it here at Stokastic. But for me, for Jeff, for a third member of the team, Jordan Klein behind the glass, we appreciate you guys. You have any questions, hit us up on Twitter. Stop back next week and share your winnings. We hope you take something down. But until next time, friends, good luck and joy. Talk to you guys soon.